I'm going to start this video by saying yes, it's been a lifetime since I last uploaded, and have already changed the name of the channel, but I wanted to dive into an idea that has been on my mind for a short while, specifically regarding shonens and how they tend to be quite long. As probably obvious to you, length doesn't equal better, especially when it comes to the type of story you're trying to tell. A romance show from last year you might be familiar with called Horimiya is exactly the type of story I think would be the perfect example of short and precise storytelling. One of the major aspects of storytelling that can indicate length is world building. In the case of Horimiya, the only world building it cares to dabble in is the social system within the confines of the school. This is perfectly acceptable as there is no need to go any further for a show that is extremely character driven and characters reacting with each other. The world is not the main focus. Compare this 12 episode long rom-com with a satisfying conclusion to the absolute behemoth of Hunter x Hunter. Sticking specifically with the anime even, a multi-continental world has been established with countless parties and factions attempting to achieve certain goals, resulting in conflict, cooperation, challenges to overcome, and resolution simultaneous to everyone else inhabiting it. A great example of this is the fourth arc, York New City. Within the York New City arc, we have multiple character narratives happening at the same time. Gon and Killua are attempting to acquire Greed Island, as they know it will be at the auction. Meanwhile, Kurapika is attempting to destroy the spiders and avenge his clan, as he knows they will be showing up to the clan in order to wreak havoc across the city, and to themselves acquire valuable goods. A substantial portion of this arc, though showing both parties, keeps them very much separate, but does indeed have actions that bleed into each other's narratives. This really goes a long way to creating a large world with coexisting parties bouncing off each other, and is incredibly satisfying to watch. But making a large world requires more than that. And especially when it comes to one as colossal as Hunter x Hunter, pacing is going to be key. You could start a story with a huge info dump that just tells the reader or viewer everything they need to know about a given world and proceed from there, but that is not fun or engaging at all. Most stories opt for drip-feeding information to the reader, usually through the eyes of the protagonist, which also gives them more time to decide rules and locales the writer wants to implement, as they can do it further down the line if wanted. This creates a delicate balance between speed and information. Too fast, and the audience won't be able to keep up nor comprehend what is happening. Too slow, and you bore the audience with useless padding and redundancy. I would like to use examples of stories that have tried to build worlds in quite similar way. My Hero Academia and Harry Potter. Look, hear me out. A lot of time can be saved by basing the world in a familiar one like contemporary Japan or modern Britain. This also makes the slightly magical abilities and actual magical abilities of both series appear accentuated due to a subtle level of relativity, as these powers can be compared with real-life effects without having to be told just how strong they are. But this is becoming a bit of a tangent specifically into world building, but it does all still fit into the idea of a narrative's length. I'm going to use these two series to try and effectively see how long a story of their caliber should be. Harry Potter's series is broken into 8 films and lasts 1,181 minutes, and this is where we hit the first big difference between these series. By the end of the ongoing Season 5, My Hero's anime will have reached 113 episodes and roughly 2,599 minutes, making it effectively double the length. But what does this really mean? As stated in the beginning, it doesn't automatically make MHA any better or more effective of a series, as length doesn't always mean much. If you've watched it yourself, you would know that there is a significant level of padding, with an episode of series being completely original and therefore not actually having any effect on the overall narrative. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, as you can easily get away with padding in a television series, as it can be split into smaller chunks due to the length of an episode being significantly shorter than a feature film. So, we've established some of the key aspects that could affect the suitable length of the narrative. 1. The genre really matters, as you may need different amounts of time to achieve a conclusive story due to the objectives being fitted to said genre. 2. World building has a huge effect on the length, as the writer will need to dedicate possibly large amounts of time to developing a living, breathing world which has intricate social structures and societies. 3. The pacing of the story and the speed at which the writer feels like giving information and story beats to the audience. And 4. The format in which the story is being told, whether it be a light novel, 20-minute TV episodes, or feature films. So what I'm saying is there isn't exactly a wrong length to a story. You can technically do it any way you want, but obviously it can become less engaging for an audience if it just keeps dragging or blitzes through at a breakneck pace. Was there much point to this video? Not really, but I ultimately am just planning to get back into the way of making them, as it has felt like an eternity since I've done so. I am planning a few new things and will probably delve into a few games possibly over the next few months. So if you're new and somehow made it to the end, I would greatly appreciate a follow on my Twitter and subscribe here on the channel. Goodbye.